Good morning. Today in integral calculus, we will study properties of gamma function and its relation with beta function. In previous lecture, we studied the definition of beta function and gamma function. Beta function is nothing but the definite integral from 0 to 1 of x raised to power n minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. And gamma function is an improper integral from 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x, x raised to power n minus 1 dx. Here m and n are greater than 0. So today we will study some properties of gamma function and then relation with beta function. So first is gamma n plus 1 is equal to n gamma n, where n is greater than 0. By the definition of gamma function, we know that gamma n plus 1 is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x, x raised to power n plus 1 minus 1 dx. Because in place of n we have n plus 1 here, so I have written n plus 1 here also. We have replaced n by n plus 1 in the definition of gamma function. So n plus 1 minus 1, 1 and 1 will cancel out, so we are left with x raised to power n here. If we integrate it by parts, we will take x raised to power n to be first function and e raised to power minus x to be a second function. So everyone knows how to integrate by parts. So first function as it is, x raised to power n, integration of second. Second is e raised to power minus x, integration of e raised to power minus x is e raised to power minus x upon minus 1. So it is minus e raised to power minus x, limits are from 0 to infinity. Minus 0 to infinity. So derivative of first. So derivative of x raised to power n is n x n minus 1. Integration of second. Integration of e raised to power minus x minus e raised to power minus x, and limits are from 0 to infinity. So first of all we will calculate this first term. So x raised to power n e raised to power minus x is nothing but x raised to power n upon e raised to power x. We have taken limit from x tending to infinity because the limits here are from 0 to infinity. We know the expansion of e raised to power x. E raised to power x is 1 plus x square upon factorial 2 plus xr upon factorial r plus dash 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 xn upon factorial n. Next term will be xn plus 1 upon factorial n plus 1. Next will be xn plus 2 upon factorial n plus 2, and so on. If we divide the numerator by x raised to power n and denominator also by x raised to power n, we get in the numerator xn upon xn, so it is 1 here. If we divide denominator by x raised to power n, divide each term by x raised to power n. So 1 upon x raised to power n, x upon x raised to power n, it is 1 upon xn minus 1, x square upon factorial to x raised to power n, so 1 upon factorial to x raised to power n minus 2 plus dash dash dash. If we divide this by x raised to power n, so it is 1 upon factorial n. If we divide next term by factorial n, x raised to power n, next term is xn plus 1 upon factorial n plus 1. So x upon factorial n plus 1. Divide next term by x raised to power n. So next term is x raised to power n plus 2 upon factorial n plus 2. So it is x square upon factorial n plus 2, and so on. If we take the limit as x tends to infinity, in the numerator we have 1 here. So I have written 1. In the denominator 1 upon infinity, it is 0. It is 0. It is 0. This is 1 upon factorial n. As x tends to infinity, this is infinity. This is infinity. Other terms are infinity. So infinity plus some term plus 0 is infinity. 1 upon infinity upon 0. So it is 0. So it means this term is 0. Here we have minus here, and this is also minus. So it is plus. N is constant. We are integrating with respect to x. So n, inside we have 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x, x raised to power n minus 1 dx. And this is nothing but gamma n. So gamma n plus 1 is equal to n gamma n. And this formula is called the reduction formula. So next we will show that gamma n is nothing but a factorial n minus 1, where n is positive integer. We have seen that gamma n plus 1 is equal to n gamma n. If we replace n by n minus 1 here, so n minus 1 plus 1. So this side we have only n. So gamma n is equal to n minus 1 gamma n minus 1. Remember this formula because we will use it in next results and in doing questions also. Similarly, gamma n minus 1 is equal to n minus 2 gamma n minus 2. Gamma n minus 2 equal to n minus 3 gamma n minus 3 and so on. Hence, we can write gamma n equal to n minus 1 gamma n minus 1. So, n minus 1. Gamma n minus 1 is n minus 2 gamma n minus 2. So, n minus 2 gamma n minus 2. Gamma n minus 2 is n minus 3 gamma n minus 3. So, n minus 3 gamma n minus 3. So, like this, we will have 3, 2, 1 in the end we will have gamma 1. Now, we will calculate the value of gamma 1. By definition of gamma function, gamma 1 is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x raised to power 1 minus 1 dx. In place of n, we have 1 here. So, here also I have written 1. X raised to power 1 minus 1 means x raised to power 0. X raised to power 0 is 1. So, we are left with e raised to power minus x only. If we integrated, integration of e raised to power minus x is e raised to power minus x upon minus 1. So, minus e raised to power minus x. Limits are from 0 to infinity. If we substitute upper limit, e raised to power minus infinity means 1 upon infinity, which is 0. Lower limit, e raised to power 0, which is 1. So, upper limit minus lower limit. So, we have minus here also. So, we will be left with 1 only. So, gamma 1 is 1. It means gamma n is equal to n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, 3, 2, 1 because it is 1. So, it is nothing but factorial n minus 1. This we have studied in high school classes. Also remember that gamma 0 is infinity and gamma minus n is equal to infinity where n is positive integer. Now we will study some different forms of gamma function. First of all, gamma n is equal to c raised to power n equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power minus cy y raised to power n minus 1 dy. And remember this formula because we will be using these in many results. We know the definition of gamma function. If we substitute x equal to cy here, then dx is equal to c dy. Here the limits are from 0 to infinity. If we substitute x equal to 0 here, then y is 0. If we substitute x equal to infinity here, then y is infinity. So limit of the integration remains same if we substitute x equal to cy. Therefore, gamma n is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power, in place of x, we will write cy. E raised to power minus cy, then x, cy raised to power n minus 1, dx, c dy. So, c dy. So, e raised to power minus cy, here it is c raised to power n minus 1. Here also we have one more c. So, c raised to power n minus 1 into c is c raised to power n. And this is y raised to power n minus 1 dy. Hence 0 to infinity e raised to power minus cy y raised to power n minus 1 dy is equal to gamma n upon c raised to power n. Because cn is constant, we can write it outside the integral and we may shift it to other side. So it will be gamma n upon c raised to power n. So inside it will be e raised to power minus cy y raised to power n minus 1 dy. So we have proved that gamma n upon c raised to power n is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power minus cy y raised to power n minus 1 dy. Now we will prove that gamma n is equal to 0 to 1 log 1 upon y whole raised to power n minus 1. We know the definition of gamma function. If we substitute e raised to power minus x equal to y, then on differentiating, derivative of e raised to power minus x is e raised to power minus x and derivative of minus x is minus 1. So minus e raised to power minus x dx and y is dy. Because e raised to power minus x is y, therefore e raised to power x equal to 1 upon y. If we take log on both sides, x is equal to log 1 upon y because x log e is 1 and log 1 upon y. Here the limits are from 0 to infinity. If we substitute x equal to 0 here, so it will be e raised to power 0, it means y is 1. If we substitute x equal to infinity, e raised to power minus infinity means 1 upon infinity which is 0. So y is 0. So earlier the limits were from 0 to infinity, now the limits are from 1 to 0. Therefore gamma n is equal to 1 to 0 minus, we have proved that e raised to minus x dx is equal to minus dy, because minus e raised to minus x equal to dy. So if we shift minus to this side, e raised to minus x dx equal to minus dy. So minus dy. Now here x raised to n minus 1. X raised to n minus 1 means x is equal to log 1 upon y. So log 1 upon y whole raised to n minus 1 dy. We know that a to b fx dx equal to minus b to a fx dx. If we change the interchange the limit of integration, we will have minus sign outside the integration. So here it was minus. So if we change the integration 1 to 0, so it will become 0 to 1 log 1 upon y and minus 1 dy. Hence we have shown that gamma n is equal to 0 to 1 log 1 upon y and minus 1 dy. Always remember these limit of integrations. Properties of definite integrals. You should know all the properties of integration to study these beta and gamma functions. Next is 0 to infinity e raised to minus y raised to 1 upon n dy is equal to gamma n plus 1. We know the definition of gamma function. If we substitute x raised to n equal to y here, and if we differentiate it, it will be n xn minus 1 dx equal to dy. Because x raised to n equal to y, if we take nth root on both sides, x is equal to y raised to 1 upon n. The limits are from 0 to infinity. If we substitute x equal to 0, y will be 0. If we substitute x equal to infinity, y will be infinity. So limits are same. Earlier it was 0 to infinity, now also 0 to infinity. So gamma n equal to 0 to infinity e raised to minus y 1 upon y dy upon n. So the n is constant. We may shift it to out of integral, and if we cross multiply, it will be n gamma n equal to 0 to infinity e raised to minus y 1 upon n dy. Here I have substituted the values xn equal to y and n x n minus 1 dx equal to dy, because e raised to minus x is equal to y 1 upon n, so it is e raised to minus y 1 upon n, and dx xn minus 1 dx, here it is xn minus 1 dx, so shift this n to this side, so it will be dy upon n. So n gamma n is nothing but gamma n plus 1, we have proved it. So this is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to minus y whole raised to 1 upon n dy. So we have proved that 0 to infinity e raised to minus y whole raised to 1 upon n dy equal to gamma n plus 1. Now we will find the relation between beta function and gamma function. What is the relation between the two? And we will show that beta mn is equal to gamma n upon gamma n plus n, where m and n are greater than 0. We know that gamma n upon c raised to n is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to minus cx x raised to n minus 1 dx. This result we have proved in previous slide. If in this result we replace n by m and c by z, so it will become gamma m upon z raised to m. 0 to infinity e raised to z x raised to m minus 1 dx. We have replaced c by z and n by m. And then if we cross multiply, we may bring cm to z raised to m to this side. We may shift this to right side. So gamma m is equal to z raised to m 0 to infinity e raised to minus zx x raised to m minus 1 dx. Here we are integrating with respect to x, so this term is constant. So we may bring this term to, we may shift this term to inside the integral. 0 to infinity z raised to m e raised to minus zx x raised to m minus 1 dx. If we multiply both sides by e raised to power minus z, z raised to power n minus 1, we get gamma m e raised to power minus z, z raised to power n minus 1 equal to here 0 to infinity. So e raised to power minus z, and this is e raised to power minus zx. So it will be e raised to power minus z into 1 plus x. Here it is z raised to power m, here it is z raised to power n minus 1. So z raised to power m plus n minus 1. And this term, third one, x raised to power m minus 1 dx. So I have multiplied both sides by e raised to power minus z, z raised to power n minus 1. Now integrating both sides with respect to z and taking the limits from 0 to infinity, we get gamma m. We are integrating with respect to z. So this is constant. So we may write it outside the integral sign. 0 to infinity e raised to power minus z, z raised to power n minus 1, and this will be dz because we are integrating with respect to z. So here it will be z. So this side 0 to infinity, then again 0 to infinity, this one e raised to power minus z, 1 plus x, z raised to power m plus n minus 1 dz. And because we are integrating with respect to z, so we may shift this term, these terms to outside this integral. So x raised to power m minus 1 dx. And by definition of gamma function, this is gamma n because here the variable is z. E raised to power minus z, z raised to power n minus 1 dz. So it is gamma n. So on this side we have gamma m, gamma n. And if we apply this formula in this term, if you compare the terms, in place of n you have m plus n here because the variable z, z raised to power m plus n minus 1. So in place of this n you have m plus n here, and the coefficient of x, here x is the variable. So here the z is the variable, coefficient of z is 1 plus x. So in place of c you have 1 plus x here. So it will be equal to gamma n upon cn. So n is m plus n and c is 1 plus x. So gamma m plus n upon 1 plus x raised to power m plus n. And this x raised to power m minus 1 dx. So it should be clear to you because if you compare this with this, in place of c you have 1 plus x, in place of n you have m plus n. So this is also a constant term, so we may bring it out of integral. So it is gamma m plus n 0 to infinity x raised to power m minus 1, 1 plus x raised to power m plus n dx. And this term is nothing but beta function. This we have proved in previous lecture. So gamma n is equal to gamma m plus n beta mn. Hence beta mn is equal to gamma n upon gamma m plus n. Now we will prove that 0 to pi by 2 sine 2 n minus 1 theta cos 2 n minus 1 theta d theta is equal to gamma n upon 2 gamma m plus n, where m and n are positive numbers. We know the definition of beta function. It is nothing but 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. Also we have proved that beta function is equal to gamma n upon gamma m plus n. So this is also a beta function, this is also a beta function. Therefore gamma n upon gamma m plus n is equal to 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. If we substitute x equal to sine square theta here, so dx is equal to 2 sine theta cos theta. Here the limits are from 0 to 1 and we have changed the variable x to theta. If x is equal to 0 here, then theta will be equal to 0 because sine 0 is 0. If x is 1 here, then sine theta equal to pi by 2 because sine pi by 2 is 1. So this will become gamma n upon gamma m plus n. Limits are now from 0 to pi by 2, 0 to pi by 2. In place of x, this is sine square theta. So sine sine square theta whole raised to power m minus 1. So sine 2m minus 2 theta. 1 minus x, 1 minus sine square theta, n minus 1, and dx is 2 sine theta cos theta. So it is 2m minus 2, and here we have sine theta. So sine 2m minus 1 theta. Here it is cos square theta, 1 minus sine square theta is cos square theta. Cos square theta raised for n minus 1. So cos 2n minus 2 theta, and this is cos theta. Cos 2n minus 1 theta d theta. Hence 0 to pi by 2 sine 2m minus 1 theta cos 2n minus 1 theta is equal to gamma n upon gamma m plus n upon 2. This 2 we have shifted to this side. So it will go into denominator gamma n upon 2 gamma m plus n. And if we substitute 2m minus 1 equal to p and 2n minus 1 equal to p cube, then we get 0 to pi by 2 sine p theta cos q theta and m. What is m here? P plus 1 upon 2. Gamma p plus 1 upon 2. N is q plus 1 upon 2. So gamma q plus 1 upon 2. 2 gamma. M is p plus 1 upon 2. N is q plus 1 upon 2. So p plus q plus 2 upon 2. Remember this formula. This is also a very important formula. 0 to pi by 2 sine p theta cos q theta d theta is equal to gamma p plus 1 upon 2 gamma q plus 1 upon 2 gamma p plus q plus 2 upon 2. Remember both the forms of this formula. Now some important results from beta and gamma functions. Gamma n into gamma 1 minus n is nothing but pi upon sine n pi, where n lies between 0 and 1. We know that beta function may also be written as 0 to infinity x raised to power n minus 1 upon 1 plus x raised to power n plus n dx, and beta function is also equal to gamma n upon gamma m plus n. This we have studied in previous lecture. So gamma n upon gamma m plus n is equal to 0 to infinity x raised to power n minus 1 1 plus x raised to power n plus n dx. If we substitute m plus n equal to 1, then this is m equal to 1 minus n, gamma n, this is 1, gamma 1 is 1, 0 to infinity, x raised to power n minus 1, 1 plus x because m plus n is 1 dx. We know that gamma 1 is 1. It means gamma 1 minus n into gamma n is equal to pi upon sine n pi. Because we know that 0 to infinity x raised to power n minus 1, 1 plus x dx is pi upon sine n pi, where n lies between 0 and 1. Also, we will show that gamma half is equal to under root pi. We know this formula that beta mn equal to gamma n upon gamma m plus n. If we substitute m equal to half, n equal to half, then we get beta half, gamma half, gamma 1. Half plus half is 1. So gamma half is gamma 1 is 1. So it will be gamma half whole square. Also, we know this formula beta mn is 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. This is the definition of beta function. If we substitute m equal to half, n equal to half in this formula, it will be 0 to 1 x raised to power half minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power half minus 1 dx. So 0 to 1, half minus 1, minus half, 1 minus x, half minus 1, minus half dx. If we substitute x equal to sine square theta, dx will be 2 sine theta cos theta d theta. Here the limits are from 0 to 1. If we substitute x equal to 0, theta will be 0. If we substitute x equal to 1, theta will be pi by 2, because sine pi by 2 is 1 and sine 0 is 0. If we substitute these values, then beta function for m equal to half, n equal to half is 0 to pi by 2, x raised to power minus half. X is sine square theta. So sine square theta raised to power minus half is sine raised to power minus 1, sine theta raised to power minus 1. So it is 1 upon sine theta. Again, this is 1 minus sine square theta. means cos square theta. Cos square theta raised to power minus half. So cos theta raised to power minus 1. So 1 upon cos theta. Again dx is 2 sin theta cos theta. So 2 sin theta cos theta d theta. So sin theta will cancel with sin theta. Cos theta will cancel with cos theta. We are left with 2. So 0 to pi by 2 d theta. Integration of this is theta. Limits are from 0 to pi by 2. So pi by 2 minus 0. So 2 into pi by 2 minus 0 is pi. So this value is pi. So it means here we have seen that beta function for m equal to half and n equal to half is gamma half whole square. So it means, and here it is pi. So gamma half whole square is equal to pi. It means gamma half is equal to under root pi. Now we will show that 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x square dx is equal to under root pi upon 2. If we substitute x square equal to 2t, then 2x dx equal to dt. It means dx is equal to 1 upon 2x dt, and x is nothing but under root t. So 1 upon 2, because x is in the denominator, if you shift to numerator, t raised to power minus half dt. Limits are from 0 to infinity. So x equal to 0, then t is 0. If x is infinity, then t is infinity, because x square is t and x is under root t. So it means 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x square dx is equal to, because limits are same, 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity, and e raised to power x square is nothing but t, e raised to power minus t, and dx is half t raised to power minus half dt. So half t raised to power minus half dt. So 1 upon 2 will be outside because it is constant, 0 to infinity, e raised to power minus t, and we can write minus 1 upon 2 as 1 upon 2 minus 1 dt. And this is 1 upon 2, and this is nothing but gamma half, because in place of n we have 1 upon 2 here. So this is gamma half by definition of gamma function. So 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x square dx is equal to half gamma half. Gamma half is nothing but under root pi. So under root pi upon 2. This we have proved in previous slide. So now beta nm is equal to under root pi gamma n 2 raised to power 2n minus 1 gamma n plus half. We know the definition of beta function. It is 0 to 1 x raised to power n minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. And if we substitute x equal to sine square theta here, dx is 2 sine theta cos theta. Limits here are from 0 to 1. So for x equal to 0, sine 0 is 0, so theta is 0. For x equal to 1, sine pi by 2 is 1, here it is pi by 2. Then theta is pi by 2. So for x equal to 1, theta is pi by 2. So beta nm is equal to 0 to pi by 2, and here the value is x raised to power n minus 1. X is sine square theta. So 2 raised to power sine 2n minus 1 theta, and 1 minus x. 1 minus sine square theta is cos square theta. So it will be cos 2n minus 2 theta, but dx is 2 sine theta cos theta. So on simplification we will have cos 2n minus 1 theta d theta. This type of calculation we have done in previous slides also. So I have written this term directly, because here it will be cos 2n minus sine 2n minus 2 theta. Here it will be cos 2n minus 2 theta. Here it is 2 sine theta cos theta. So on simplification we will have 2 sine 2n minus 1 theta cos 2n minus 1 theta d theta. So we can write directly as this is 2 is constant, 2 may be written outside, If we divide by 2 raised to n minus 1 and multiply by 2 and 2 raised to n minus 1, then we get 2 sine theta cos theta whole raised to 2n minus 1. Because it is 2n minus 1, it is 2n minus 1. I have multiplied by 2 raised to n minus 1 and divided by 2 raised to n minus 1. So it is 2 upon 2 raised to 2n minus 1, 0 to pi by 2, and this term is nothing but sine 2 theta. Sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. So sine power is 2n minus 1. 2n minus 1, 2 theta. So, and we may write sine 2 theta whole raised to 2n minus 1 theta, and here it is 2, here it is 2n minus 1. So 2 raised to 2n minus 2. By law of indices, if we substitute 2 theta equal to t, then 2 d theta equal to dt, means d theta equal to dt upon 2. Limits are from 0 to pi by 2. So if theta equal to 0, then t is 0. If theta equal to pi by 2, then t is pi. So pi by 2, t is pi. So limits here are from 0 to pi by 2, it will be 0 to pi. So 0 to pi, 1 upon 2 raised to 2n minus 1, because d theta is dt upon 2. So 2n minus 2, and this is 2 also, 2 raised to 2n minus 1. 0 to pi sine 2 theta, sine t power is 2n minus 1 and d theta is dt upon 2, so it is dt. So this is equal to 0 to pi by 2 sine 2n minus 1 t dt. This is twice, because 0 to 2a fx dx is equal to twice 0 to a fx dx by properties of definite integral whenever f of 2a minus x equal to f of x. So here f of pi minus x is equal to f of x. It means we may write it as 0 to instead of 0 to pi, I have written it 0 to pi by 2, and this is twice of this. 0 to 2a fx dx, twice 0 to a fx dx. But it is true only if f of 2a minus x equal to f of x. So this term is 2 0 to pi by 2 sine 2 n minus t dt. And this is 2 raised to power n minus 1, and we know that 0 to pi by 2 sine p theta cos q theta d theta equal to gamma p plus 1 by 2 gamma q plus 1 by 2 2 gamma p plus q plus 2 by 2. This we have studied in previous slides. So here we have sine 2n minus 1 theta, and for cos theta, for cos t, the power is 0. So if we compare the powers, so it is gamma p plus 1 upon 2. Whatever the power is here, p plus 1 upon 2. So 2n minus 1 plus 1 upon 2 means 2n upon 2 gamma n. For cos, the power is 0. So 0 plus 1 upon 2. So gamma half, this is gamma half. In denominator 2 plus p plus q upon 2. So 2 plus, this is 2n minus 1 plus 0 plus 2 upon 2. So it is n plus half upon 2. Gamma half, we know that it is under root pi. So beta mn is equal to, this 2 and 2 will cancel out. 1 upon 2 raised to n minus 1. Gamma n, gamma half. And this is gamma n plus half. And this is the value of gamma half, under root pi, under root n, 2 raised to 2n minus 1, gamma n plus half. So remember these formulas. Only then you will be able to prove these results. You should know the properties of definite integrals. You should know all the transformations of beta function and gamma function, which we have done in previous lecture and previous slides. Now we will prove this duplication formula. Gamma n plus half is equal to under root pi 2 raised to 2n minus 1 gamma 2n whenever n is greater than 0. Just now we proved that beta n is equal to under root pi gamma n 2 raised to 2n minus 1 gamma n plus half. And we know that beta mn is equal to gamma n upon gamma m plus n. If m is equal to n, then gamma n is equal to gamma n upon gamma n plus n. So it means gamma n upon gamma 2n is equal to under root pi gamma n 2 raised by 2n minus 1 gamma n plus half if n is equal to m here. It means gamma n will cancel from those both sides. If we shift gamma n plus half to this side and gamma 2n to this side, means on cross multiplication. So we will have gamma n plus half here. This is under root pi. This is 2 raised by 2n minus 1. And if we shift this through this side, gamma 2n. So this is the Legendre duplication formula. Now we will show that gamma 1 upon n, gamma 2 upon n, gamma 3 upon n up to gamma n minus 1 upon n is equal to 2 pi whole raised by n minus 1 upon 2 n raised per half, where n is an integer. Suppose we substitute this term to be equal to a, and if we may write it as gamma half, gamma 2 upon n, gamma 3 upon n. This may be written as gamma 1 minus 2 upon n upon n minus 2 upon n, 1 minus 2 upon n. This n upon n minus 1 upon n, 1 minus 1 upon n. If we write this formula in the reverse order, then also it will be a only. So a is equal to gamma 1 minus 1 upon n, gamma 1 minus 2 upon n, gamma 2 upon n, and gamma 1 upon n. So I have written it in reverse order. If we multiply this formula and this formula, this is the formula which we have substituted a, and these are the terms which we have written in the reverse order. So multiply these and combine the corresponding terms in pairs. So gamma 1 upon n, gamma 1 minus 1 upon n, first term, then gamma 2 upon n, gamma 1 minus 2 upon n. This I have written for the sake of simplification. Then gamma 1 minus 2 upon n, gamma 2 upon n. This term, gamma 1 minus 1 upon n, gamma 1 upon n, this term. And using trigonometry, this may be written as pi upon sine pi upon n, this term, pi upon sine 2 pi upon n, and this term, pi upon sine n minus 1, pi upon n minus 1 upon n pi, because gamma 1 minus n is equal to pi upon sine n pi. This we have proved. And this term is nothing but a into a means a square. So a square is nothing but pi into pi into pi. So if we multiply pi n minus 1 times, because these are n minus 1 terms, so we may write pi raised per n minus 1 and in the numerator, because these are 1 to n minus 1 terms, and these are all n minus 1 terms. So pi n minus term times pi raised per n minus 1. So sine pi upon n, sine 2 pi upon n, sine n minus 2 pi upon n, sine n minus 1 pi upon n. Also we know that sine n theta upon sine theta is nothing but 2 raised per n minus 1 sine theta plus pi upon n, sine theta plus 2 pi upon n, sine theta plus n minus 1 upon n pi. This is by trigonometry. Remember this formula. If we take the limit as theta tends to 0, then this will be 2 raised per n minus 1. Theta is 0, so we are left with sine pi upon n. Here sine 2 pi upon n, sine n minus 1 pi upon n. On this side we have limit theta tending to 0, sine n theta upon sine theta. And we know how to evaluate this limit. We will divide and multiply by sine n theta and n theta, because we know that sine theta upon theta equal to 0 as theta tends to 0. So it is nothing but 1. Sin n theta upon n theta. And similarly, theta upon sin theta is also 1. So we are left with n only. So n limit theta upon sin theta, limit sin n theta upon n theta. These are 1, so we are left only with n. So sin pi upon n, sin 2 pi upon n, sin n minus 1 pi upon n, and this side we have 2 raised to n minus 1. If we shift to right hand side, so n upon 2 raised to n minus 1. It means a square is equal to pi raised to n minus 1 upon n upon 2n minus 1. It will go to numerator. So power is n minus 1. So we may write 2 pi raised to n minus 1, and here it is n. Or a is equal to, taking square root, 2 pi n minus 1 upon 2 and under root n. So a is nothing but gamma 1 upon n, gamma 2 upon n, gamma 3 upon n, gamma n minus 2 upon n, gamma n minus 1 upon n, and this is equal to 2 pi raised to n minus 1 upon 2 and raised to 1 upon 2. Now we will prove that 0 to infinity e raised to minus ax cos bx x raised to n minus 1 dx is equal to gamma m upon a square plus b square whole raised to n by 2 cos m theta, and 0 to infinity e raised to minus ax sin bx x raised to n minus 1 dx gamma m a square plus b square m by 2 sin m theta. We know that 0 to infinity e raised to minus px x raised to m minus 1 dx is equal to gamma m upon p raised to m. We had proved this formula. In place of c here we have p, and in place of m we have n. So e raised to minus px x raised to m minus 1 dx equal to gamma p upon p raised to m. If we substitute this p equal to a minus b, then 0 to infinity e raised to minus a minus b x raised to m minus 1 dx equal to gamma m a minus b whole raised to n. And we may write it as e raised to minus ax and minus plus e raised to iota bx x raised to m minus 1 dx gamma m, and if we multiply by a plus iota b whole raised to m, and here also a plus iota b whole raised to m, and this is a minus b, and the power is m here, so this is the power m here. I have divided and multiplied by a plus iota b whole raised to m. So this is nothing but 0 to infinity e raised to minus ax, e raised to iota bx, x raised to m minus 1 dx, and here it is gamma m a plus iota b whole raised to m, and a minus iota b into a plus iota b, a square minus iota square b square, and iota square is minus 1. So a square plus b square whole raised to m. If we substitute a equal to r cos theta and b equal to r sin theta, and if we square and add, we will get r square cos square theta plus r square sin square theta equal to a square plus b square. And cos square theta plus sin square theta is 1. So r square equal to a square plus b square. It means r equal to under root b square plus a square. And tangent theta equal to b upon a. Theta is tangent inverse b upon a. So r is under root b square a square plus b square, and theta is tangent inverse b upon a. So if we make use of this substitution, then it will be 0 to infinity e raised to minus ax. E raised to iota bx is nothing but cos bx plus iota sin bx. We know that e iota theta is cos theta plus iota sin theta. This is x raised to m minus 1 dx. This is gamma m. A is r cos theta, b is r sin theta, iota r sin theta whole raised to m. This is r square cos square theta. This is r square sin square theta m. And this is equal to gamma m. R can be taken outside. So r raised to m cos theta plus iota sin theta whole raised to m. This is by De Morgan's formula, cos m theta plus iota sin m theta. Because cos theta plus iota sin theta whole raised to m is cos m theta plus iota sin m theta. In the denominator, if we take r square outside, it will be r raised to 2m. Inside we have cos square theta plus sin square theta, which is 1. So we are left with gamma m. Here it is r raised power m, here it is r raised power 2m. So it is r raised power m only. In the denominator we are left with r raised power m only. And so gamma m cos m theta plus iota sin m theta. And r raised power m is nothing but, because r is under root r a square plus b square, so it is a square plus b square m by 2. Because r is under root a square plus b square. And here the power is m. So this is m upon 2. If we equate the, because this is a complex number, this is also a complex number because we have an imaginary number here. So two complex numbers are said to be equal if their real parts and imaginary parts are separately equal. If we equate the real parts on both sides, we get 0 to infinity e raised to minus ax cos bx x raised to m minus 1 dx is equal to gamma m cos m theta upon a square plus b square m by 2. This is this result, a part. If we equate the imaginary part, then 0 to infinity sin bx x raised to m minus 1 dx is equal to gamma m sin m theta a square plus b square m by 2, which is nothing but the b part. Here it is nothing. So if we equate the real and imaginary part on both sides, we get the results a and b respectively. Thank you.